keys still in the ignition. All the cops were buzzing from somebody's bad decision. Call everyone you know, we found the evidence. Just don't let them see you when you jump across the fence. Somebody stole a beer truck, it don't matter who it was. Grab a can and drink it up, best keep your mouth shut. Man, we're good to go, yeah, we hit the mother load. There's more than enough for all of us. Somebody stole a beer truck. You can holler at the moon, go splashing in the creek. You can get as rowdy as you damn near wanna be. But don't build a bonfire, we don't need that attention. Ain't nobody driving home, not in our condition. Somebody stole a beer truck, it don't matter who it was. Grab a can and drink it up, best keep your mouth shut. Man, we're good to go, yeah, we hit the mother load. There's more than enough for all of us. Somebody stole a beer truck. We parked it over here, we parked it over there. We parked it in the barn, yeah, we parked it everywhere. The party went on all night long, till all the beer was gone. Somebody stole a beer truck, it don't matter who it was. Grab a can and drink it up, let's keep your mouth shut. Man, we're good to go, yeah, we hit the mother load. There's more than enough for all of us. Somebody stole a beer truck. Somebody stole a beer truck. I'll back it on up, boys. Somebody stole a beer truck. Show me a lesson and I've learned it. Show me a bridge, I probably burned it. Show me $1, yeah, I've earned it. Though I can't tell you where it went. Show me time I used to waste it. Show me whiskey, I still taste it. Show me hell, and hell I've raised it. That's just who I've always been. But if I could go back somehow and get one more time around, give me one more time around the sun, I'd take it, I'd run around this blue rock and give it all I got. I'd live and let live, forget and forgive. Please don't give up on me now. Give me one more time around. Still got things I need to do here. A lot of air I need to get clear. A lot of love, a little less fear. Lift up all of those I let down. Give me one more time around the sun. I'd take it, I'd run around this blue rock and give it all I got. I'd live and let live, forget and forgive. Please don't give up on me now. Give me one more time around. Give me something I can live for. Give me a chance so I can give more. Heaven knows what I'd give for one more time around. One more time around the sun, I'd take it, I'd run around this blue rock and give it all I got. I'd Unburned paint still reads 98 state champs on that water tower. Kids still hang at the old flat bank, cruise that Friday night strip for hours, kinda like a small town. There's Glen Mill Road where the years move slow. Ain't much changed since our first kiss. I've seen city lights and man, I saw the light. Let me tell you now, I admit, kinda like this small town. Ain't changed a bit, nothing better than this that I found. It took some coming around, but I'm figuring out you're where I wanna be right now. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, kinda like this small town. On your front steps, that day I left, you played me like a rock and roll song. 'Cause you just laughed and said, find your way back. I guess you knew it all along, that you were right where I belong. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, it ain't changed a bit, nothing better than this that I found. It took some coming around, but I'm figuring out you're where I wanna be right now. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, kinda like this small town. Come on. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, I kinda like this small town. Kinda like this small town. How it ain't changed a bit, nothing better than this that I found. Not a worry around, nowhere more proud, nowhere else you'd wanna settle down. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, since '98, state champs on that water tower. Well, kids still hang at the old flat bank, cruise that Friday night strip for hours, kinda like a small town. There's Glen Mill Road where the years move slow. Ain't much changed since our first kiss. I've seen city lights and man, I saw the light. Let me tell you now, I admit, kinda like this small town. It ain't changed a bit, nothing better than this that I found. It took some coming around, but I'm figuring out you're where I wanna be right now. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, kinda like this small town. On your front steps, that day I left, you played me like a rock and roll song. 'Cause you just laughed and said, find your way back. I guess you knew it all along, that you were right where I belong. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, it ain't changed a bit, nothing better than this that I found. It took some coming around, but I'm figuring out you're where I wanna be right now. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, kinda like this small town. Come on. Kinda like this small town. Yeah, I kinda like this small town. Kinda like this small town. How it ain't changed a bit, nothing better than this that I found. Not a worry around, nowhere more proud, nowhere else you'd wanna settle down. Kinda like this small town. Yeah,
Right, team. They are having some technical difficulties, to say the least. We're just in the process of trying to get it sorted. This is the joys of live. Let me right. Okay, so I'm just going to retry again. They are ready for us. We're just having trouble connecting the link up. His signal is not brilliant, but we're gonna be on in literally like maybe 25 seconds. I'm just gonna reset this link up, and then we're going to go, team. Right, we are go down. I'm absolutely gutted. That, but hey, this is live. It can all be edited. Of course it can when we go. So, right, give us 30 seconds and I'll get everything set up and we're going to go. We are going to go down. All right. Speak soon, team.
Sunburned paint still reads 98 state champs on that water tower. Well, kids still hang at the old flat bank, cruise that Friday night strip for hours, kinda like a small town. There's Glen Mill Road where the years move slow. Ain't much changed since our first kiss.
Right. Okay. Let's try.
There we go. I can
straight in. Can everybody hear me?
Stang. How are you?
Finally, we fixed it. Come on, let's go. Right.
I apologize. I'm on holiday, so my service is really bad.
That's
we're
right.
actually driving home from holiday, so
That's very nice.
we're in the middle of nowhere. So yeah.
Well, drive safely, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. It was our first holiday without kids since we've had kids. So I'm not driving. I'm being safe. I have the wife driving.
Excellent. Right. So, just to begin, we are live. I tried to do it separately so we could have a chat to start with, but that is not the case. We are literally rolling into it. So I just want to say, Joey and John, thank you so much for agreeing to do this this interview with me. There are so many excited people. We have currently, I think there's 42 people in the live chat, which I'm sure is going to get bigger as we as we push along. But first and foremost, thank you so much. It means so much to everybody that loves Holo.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Johnny. Our pleasure. Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's been a while. We haven't really gotten out into the community itself yet. So we appreciated it when we saw your stream, and that really kicked it off. And we were like, all right, now it might be time to get into the game a little bit more with the community.
It is definitely time to get into the game. I mean, people, to be fair, they don't know about you, but they're going to after today. This is going to be huge. I do have a fairly decent following, but to be fair, we've got to big up Air Nova, because Air Nova was really the guy that brought us all together. So, you reached out to Air Nova in a Twitter, in a message or something like that, and that's what sparked this whole thing. So a huge, thank you to Air Nova for this. So let's get started. Shall we start with
Go for it.
Let's start with you, John. Who are you? And just tell us everything that you can about you and your background.
Okay, so my background, I was in the United States Marine Corps as a diesel mechanic. So I was in logistics back then. That was over 20 years ago. I never really left the business. I've been in everything from tankers to barges to break bulk to trucking, rail, and spent most of my time as a Marine superintendent at Port Newark or Global Container Terminals. And that's currently, last year it was the second busiest terminal in the Western Hemisphere. So I have about 20 years background in logistics. I basically was a frontline manager that got tired of dealing with 7 different vendors and 15 different computer programs and still having to climb up onto a ship and get greasy to figure out the problem. And decided that there was a better way to do it. And that's when I ran it across Joey. And he was like, let me think about this. And about a week later, here we go. This is the result. We figured out a better way to do things.
That's amazing. And yeah, Joey, go ahead. Tell us everything about you.
Sure. So, yeah, my name is Joey. Jonny came to me one day and was like, man, we've got a lot of problems in my industry. And I was like, okay, well, let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on. My background, I actually came more from a medical background, in medical supply type background. But, for the last 10, 15 years, I really kind of studied blockchains on my own and the cryptocurrency markets and stuff like that. And, up until, a couple years ago, it was confusing. It really was. It's like, well, what are these really needed for? And, how are we going to make use of them? And so I started doing some research after he told me the problems and started looking into some different types of blockchains in particular. And then I ran across Holochain and was like, man, this might be it. There's something to this. There's something to, having a use case for this. And I was like, well, okay, how do we build on it? So it's, for me, I was kind of a student of blockchain, so to speak, trying to learn all I could about it. And, in my background, I've got 4 kids, busy life, full-time job, and me and Jonny put this together and, it's been off to the races ever since.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Well, first of all, Jonny, thank you for your service in the Marine Corps. That's incredible. Fantastic. And Joey, this is like a huge thing for you, isn't it? This is massive for your age because you do look pretty young, to be fair.
Not too bad for 29.
Pretty impressive.
I'll tell you, though, this is the stuff that gets me excited, though. So, this whole we'll see how this time frame works for us because I can talk.
That's fine. Okay, so the first question really is, what is Holo Sail Technologies, Inc.?
Okay, so Holo Sail Technologies, what we did is we actually, on accident, made a new technology that's never been made before. We are a nodal neural network with some aspects of AI, and then we're utilizing the peer-to-peer Holochain. Joey will tell you later more about why we chose Holochain. But we can basically completely automate the global supply chain, free of the cloud, giving it unmatched cybersecurity, and this meaning all the way from factory to shelf or doorstep, last mile warehousing, sea freight, the whole 9, and even more. A marketplace for the supply chain community, that be inland or what have you, as well as insurance rate, freight insurance, marine insurance, all in one offering. So you instead of needing 7 or 8 vendors, on top of that, you need to hire a security guy. You can do all of that on one app on your phone, and it's 10 times more secure than what you're using now with all the other vendors that you're paying money for. So the idea is really to level the playing field If we provide this service, it will allow for more mom and pop trucking companies, more mom and pop manufacturers. It'll help the larger manufacturers. It'll help distributors, retail, shipping companies, trucking companies. It's a win-win for pretty much everybody who's not taking advantage anyway of the current situation that we're finding ourselves in. And then I think it would be we would be missing a big part if we didn't mention that we have 16 other industry applications on the patent. Banking, fintech, law enforcement, emergency response, just to name a few, that are basically the same thing we're doing with the supply chain. It's a plug and play. Once we have all the nodes in place for the supply chain. So we'll be doing this once the supply chain is out of beta testing. We'll begin doing it in all the other 16 verticals that we have lined up. I hope that answered your question, Johnny.
Oh my gosh. I think you are blowing people away about this. This is going to be so exciting. The chat is going to go crazy for everything that you've just said. I mean, that is huge. That's absolutely huge. Okay, so that leads on then, obviously, to Joey. Why are we choosing Holochain rather than using blockchain? Why are we using the nodes and the agents of Holochain?
Yeah, sure. So I feel like most people kind of know some of the, constraints that blockchain has. And in this industry, actually in multiple industries, they're really trying to force the blockchain down. And the problem is they're running into all these bottlenecks. They're running into issues with hackers, taking over, whether it's the centralized nodes. And really the aspect that brought it about was the fact that it's so decentralized. It's one of those things where, GDPR compliance is a really big thing and it's only getting bigger. And Holochain actually is already GDPR compliant. So you're GDPR compliant, from the very foundation of what you're building, which is huge, especially overseas. Here in the US, it's getting to that point, but it's very big overseas. And with all of the validations that are needed in a supply chain run, I mean, we're talking about astronomical numbers when it comes to goods moving, from one side of the world to the other. I mean, Johnny, well, I think the figure for it.
I think I'm just gonna. I don't mean to interrupt you, but one thing that I think he touched on, but he missed is that when you're looking at a logistics world, global supply chain, you're talking that if I want to buy a pair of sneakers, it takes 12 to 15 people, according to our research and a lot of other people's research, and possibly more, to have to touch that. Now with blockchain, it's what their only answers are permission-based blockchains or hyperledgers, which really don't answer the question. All it does is add more to the problem and more spaghettis to the bowl, so to speak. What really touched was when I realized the scalability of Holochain, when Joey was explaining to me the scalability. Because in our industry and a lot of other industries that are operational, you can't, and this may be from my military background, you got to be able to adapt to situations. Plans never go exactly the way, operations never go exactly the way you want them to. So Holochain is just way more scalable, way more flexible than any form of blockchain. And then it also provided us the ability to take everything off the cloud.
Johnny, let me come back in. And, that's one of the things is that the scalability aspect, you have to have all of this going through. And if you don't, it breaks down and it slows things down. That's why when some people ship something, they got to wait 3 months for it. It's not because it's not at the port. It could already be at the port. It's that it's just not caught up with the system. And on top of that, companies don't want their data to be public, which is understandable from a company standpoint. from a company, you need to have that type of privacy for your company. And that's not what the blockchains are providing. They want that 100% openness. And, this really leaves something to be desired, which is why we think Holochain is the perfect fit.
All right, can I just piggyback real quick, and then we'll be quiet and let you ask more questions? Just when he said that, it's he's perfectly quoted, but when you look at blockchain, it's literally anti-competition because, like what Joey said, everybody knows. So if I want to sell, like we'll go back to I'm selling shoes, for example. If I'm sending that container of shoes to 3 different retailers, I don't want them to know what each one is paying. I want, that's competitive. That's called capitalism. That's what keeps the free market going, right? That competitive nature. Or with blockchain, I can't say the names of the companies that are doing it, but these companies in the industry, blockchain, literally you have to say, hey, here's my data. We never own your data. We don't want your data. It's your data. We're just keeping it safe until the transaction is complete. And guess what? We'll run another transaction for you, and we're stewards of your data. We're not trying to sell it. We don't need it. We just need it to make sure that your stuff you've ever had. I'll get off my soapbox there on that one. And let Jonny, please, whatever you got else.
Honestly, this is amazing. I said to Nova, I was like, I'm hoping that I can just ask questions and then you two just absolutely blast the interview, and it's working out an absolute treat. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh, there's loads coming in on the comments. People are saying amazing, that's awesome, Holochain is the future, so good to hear what it's actually used for. So there's loads coming on the comments, which I'm blown away by. This is all documented, of course. There probably will be some freelance questions at the end. We've got another 2 questions to ask you, and then I would like to probably freelance it to see if some of the audience want to ask you a couple of questions. But we'll move into the next one. Jonny has. Here we go. Johnny's back. That's fine. So, in terms of your technology, from what I understand, it is going to work in relation to shipping and containers. But you've kind of answered it, but will your technology eventually be given to retail scale customer base? For example, asset tracking individual products in a container. So if I was to order something in China, will I be able to see that traveling real time to me using your technology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The answer to that question is absolutely. At this time, we're not at we need to test the system more before we bring it down to the parcel level. But it's always been our intention to get it down to the parcel level. And that being said, we like for the law enforcement side of it, we even have nodes that can go into individual police officers' weapons and gear and read back the data that the command centers need. So if we can do that on a law enforcement side with weapons and the body armor of police officers, it's just as easy to do it with, say, a box from Amazon. So eventually, yes. Right now, we do have a fully functional, our system works completely. We have a fully functional supply chain and inventory management system. What we're currently in seed round funding. And that seed round funding is to basically just generate enough devices to get out to the customers. So that's where we're at right now. And we definitely will be going down to the parcel level as small as we can. So literally the goal is from factory to doorstep or shelf, however you end up getting if you're my wife over here, I'm like the West Caldwell, New Jersey hub of Amazon. So yeah, you'll be able to see it on your doorstep exactly where the goal is going. But at first, while we test the system, it'll be more containers, full box loads, trucks, and maybe parcels such as like pharmaceuticals that are stored in cooling systems, tests, things of that nature, and also some break bulk items that we've been talking to different customers that are looking to ship break bulk. And I hope that answers the question.
I mean, talking about the law enforcement, that is something that's pretty close to home for me, if I'm honest. So having your technology in police cars, having your technology in radios, and then in terms of weapon system, i.e. discharge of weapon systems, the head office is going to know about discharging, is going to know everything with
So
zero
Johnny,
lag.
before you get into it, we need to keep some of this closer to the vest.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to plead the fifth.
Johnny, we might have lost you.
So I can't. Unfortunately, I can't violate those NDAs.
Oh my God.
Yes, the idea would be our nodes would be in the weapon itself. I can't explain what data that we'll be doing and how we'll be collecting the data and what it will do at this time. But as soon as we can release it publicly, we will release it publicly.
This is bigger, right? Holo Sail Tech Inc. is bigger than you could possibly imagine. This is like insane.
To put it lightly, this is the first steps. We have a lot of different avenues that we plan on executing, but this is really the first hurdle.
Wow. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll keep everything top secret. Okay. So what? Let's ask.
Sorry, Johnny, but
that's all right. I think we're losing you, Johnny, due to your signal. So we'll move to Joey. So in terms of the technology, then let's go to the shipping side of things. What technology is actually live now that you're testing? And do you have any successes that you're able to discuss to the audience?
Sure. So what we are testing is we're currently testing a device that can read multiple data points while on a journey. Some of those include tracking, humidity, conditions while a parcel is in, movement, whether it's coming from overseas or whatnot. It's at more of a container level currently while we build. And so this device is currently ready to be used. A big portion of it is getting this moved over to Holochain, which is going to take some time. But as far as accomplishments, I mean, we did just have a third-party evaluation that's not quite made public yet. Hopefully, we'll be hearing more about what he had to say here in the future. But otherwise, at this time, we, this is really the first public stuff that we've gotten into. So, at this time, that's kind of where we're at. We're in a good alpha stage, getting ready to move into a beta stage here shortly. But otherwise, we're very, very excited.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sure we are extremely excited as well.
Yeah, am I still frozen? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Johnny.
There we go, Johnny.
Okay, so the third party evaluation was done by he has a PhD from MIT. He'll release that third party evaluation, and we're very happy with the outcome of it. I'll leave it at that. And we will also be probably within the next week or two. We have a live demo of the actual technology working at this stage that we have it, and we will release that probably in a few weeks. Right now, it's just reserved for current customer conversations and investor conversations. But once those are all locked down and our original first customers that have decided that they're interested in this, and investors that have decided they're interested, once they've all seen it and we're ready, we'll release the demo publicly as well, so everybody can see the live technology working.
Excellent. That's awesome. Okay. Looking forward to that in the next few weeks. There is so much happening in the next few weeks, not just with Holo, but with Holo Sail Technologies as well. So, team, we've got so much to be excited about. One of the viewers has actually asked, and it's Fred Holo, and he said, please ask them if they plan to expand also using trains. Here in Austria and Germany, there are actually many technologies under development to track trains and goods on it. There is a lot of money in it. So will you be expanding to trains as well as shipping?
Hey, Johnny, real quick. So why don't you give them a rundown on, say, a mock supply chain run? Because trains do fall in that.
Right. So if for example, we have a distributor. I'm just going to stick with shoes because everybody buys shoes and they're an easy count. 9,000 shoe boxes can fit into a 40-foot container. So it could give you an idea of the amount of movement that's happening. So say I want to buy shoes from a factory in Vietnam, and I'm Walmart, or I shouldn't say names of stores, I apologize. Whatever, I'm the retailer on the other end. So I call up the manufacturer in Vietnam and say I want a 40-foot container of shoes. Let's change shoes to coffee. I want coffee, because perishable goods will highlight what we can show you even more. And so they ship that in 20-foot containers. So I want a 20-foot container of coffee. They say, okay, here's we loaded it. Here's the bill of lading. Here's your manifest. That all goes into our system. We loaded a 20-foot container of coffee here in X country, and it's headed to, Seattle for, because everybody in Seattle drinks coffee. And it gets to Seattle and they open it up. And so, number one, they load the container. Now a truck has to come to the container and take it to a terminal. The terminal has to engate that container and put it into a yard. Then it has to wait for a ship to come. Then they have to take it from the yard, and the stevedore has to take it and load it onto the ship. Now it's on the ship. It goes in the ocean, and then eventually it gets to another port where it's discharged from the ship. It goes into a yard, and then another trucking company or rail will come and pick it up from the terminal and take it to a distribution facility, which they call where they unpack, the containers and distribute it into multiple different trucks going outbound. And at that point, the coffee guy will be like, wait a second, there's only 13 tons. Here it says 15 tons at time of loading. Well, if you have our technology, you can see, you ask the shipper to put it below deck because you didn't want it exposed to heat, because you didn't want dehydration for your coffee, right? Because it sat outside on top of the container on the San Trino Bay for 36 days. Then it's not the coffee guy's fault anymore, right? I didn't, they have proof. They can see what time, when it actually passed the temperature and humidity threshold for that container. And the moment it happens in real time, whoever that container belongs to, whoever needs to know, the alarm will go off and ring on your phone and say, container, TTNU XYZ, blah, 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 has reached this threshold. This is the location. This, expect to know that you're going to have dehydration happening in your cargo. Mm-hmm. Similar, if there's damage to the cargo, if the cargo's been open, a whole list of different things that we can provide that others can't.
Which includes, going to answer the question, which includes, once it gets to the port home, that might go on truck, that might go on rail, but either way, it's getting to the customers.
Right. And a big thing, I think we'd be very remiss not to mention, the Federal Maritime Commission is currently, here in the United States, is currently doing an investigation on terminal operators and the way they charge demurrage, which is the amount of money they charge people for their containers being on terminal. The problem is we have this backup in the bays. We have the backup there's not enough drivers. We have a driver shortage because federal regulations on marijuana. That's a whole other story for another show. Maybe we'll come up and I will gladly talk to you about. But so here in the United States, we have a shortage of drivers. So then, you have these terminal operators charging people money for their freight being on terminal. Sometimes, how do you know it's there? What's your proof that my container is on your can you prove it to me? Can you show me that container?
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't, because
Mm-hmm.
half the time it's lost on the container and they lost it, and that's why you're not getting your cargo. The other half is still on the ship. The other half, it hasn't been, who knows? We know. We can tell you where your cargo is exactly, and what's happening to it. So I'll stop there. There's a lot of other equipment shortage issues plaguing the supply chain right now. It's like empty containers, chassis, things of that nature. And we can also do this with not just containers, but chassis for trucks as well.
Wow.
Well, I'll stop there.
Oh my gosh. Right. Okay. This has been absolutely amazing. Joey, I don't know if you're looking at the chat messages, are you?
Yeah, I am looking through them.
Is there anything that stands out from you there, from any one of our community, that you would like to answer?
Let me see if I can pull up the chat. It's a little hard in the...
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty hard whilst you're in a car, Johnny.
Yeah, I can't seem to pull up the chat very well.
Unfortunately, most of the questions come through fall under we can't answer that. Not at this time, but I feel free to ask questions now.
Yeah, if there's any
right.
Yeah. Vanaleswa said, Joey, what is your favorite beer?
Ooh, what's my favorite beer? Well, that'd have to be a Guinness. I like Guinness Black.
Guinness Black.
I like Yards Porter. It's a Philadelphia brewery. It's great. It's the best American beer.
Fantastic. Well, I know nothing about beer. I don't drink at all, but Vanaleswa is a big drinker by the sounds of it, and was keen to know what you two drink. I don't know if that's to try and get some inspiration as to where Holo is going in the future, but seriously, from this interview, if that does not give everybody reassurance that Holochain is here to stay, team, then oh my gosh. These guys are using Holochain to back their business. Like, seriously? Yeah.
I will. There is one question on there. Are we waiting for more exciting partnerships or investors? I'll tell you, we have a lot of good opportunities coming. So we're hoping to take advantage of that soon.
Right. We're not having a hard time finding people to work with, but we will, if there's interesting strategic people to work with, we are more than happy to talk to anybody, obviously. We're not like closed off to anybody. We'll give everybody a fair chance.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I saw on one of the comments of your last your last when you spoke about its class, people were commenting about the ship side of things, and I just wanted to mention like the graphics and stuff. We have the ability to do that if the shipping lines would allow us to do that with the waves, and we could do that easily. But really, the more important part is that you can use the system as a stowage system for the ships themselves, to plan the ships more accurately and more efficient. So it can be used for stowage for shipping lines. It can be used for bookings. It can be used for terminal operations. And the list is endless. And that's where I'll stop.
We've lost him. It's just me and you now, Joey. Okay. Right. So, how can the retail investor invest in Holo Sail? Is that something that we can actually do? because look, the majority of us are investors. We are huge investors. So can a retail investor invest in Holo Sail is a question from Big Black Crypto.
So I can only comment on this a little bit, but right now you have to be an accredited investor.
Right. That's fine.
So you have to be accredited, in the United States for it to even be able to right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have
Johnny's
to
back.
follow the rules. We have to follow the rules of Reg D here in the United States. Reg D 504C and 506C.
Mhm.
So as long as the investors fall in those two categories, then yes.
Yeah.
We can take credit investors. Absolutely.
That's ace. Yeah. So, anything else on there, Joey? I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to try and slip over that fence.
That's
Places
okay.
we can't go.
Right.
No, I
Well,
understand.
we cannot advertise for sales of investors, but if somebody wants to come to us and ask us to invest, that is within the laws in the United States.
Right.
But we can't publicly advertise that we're selling shares.
Yeah. That's fine.
I will say, looks like Jay McKee asked, how do we hear about Holochain without any marketing? Honestly, it was just research. I did a lot of research. I probably researched close to 100 blockchains and their similarities. Me personally, I went through each and every one's white paper, read them, went through the pros and cons of it. I mean, that's really what it was, is just kind of grunt work. Going through to find out what would be the best engine, so to speak, for what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. We've done a really good job. Joey and I, when we first started this, Joey recruited some extra tech help. I recruited some extra operations help. But Joey and I really started this, and we've done a great job. Basically, I would be like, hey, Joey, this is what's happening in the industry. What can you do with it over with Holochain and with this and this? And then once we got to the point where he couldn't answer any more questions and I needed to ask more questions, operations, that's when we brought the right people at the right time. And it grew into what you see today.
Yeah. Well, it's extremely exciting. Very exciting. We cannot wait for, obviously, Holo to go into beta and then actually see this whole thing just take off. It's just going to be great.
Right, Johnny, I apologize, but I just spotty communications and my wife's driving. So I'm gonna have to sign off for this. It's been a pleasure. Do you have one last question you want to wrap up with?
No, I think we have come to a natural close, if I'm honest, and we've taken up way more of your time than we ever expected. As we said 15 minutes, and it's turned out to be nearly 50 minutes, including the technical issues. But seriously, I just want to say a massive thank you. I'm sure everybody's so excited. Everybody's saying thank you. I'm blown away. And seriously, I would like to re-interview you in the future when things are up and running and things are working and we can see it real time on screen, if that's something we can do.
As soon as we're available, as soon as we get the legal green light to do that, then yes, absolutely. I'm completely open to it. Jonny Stang, Holo too. Actually, you were the first one to pick up from Twitter and really see what was going on. And we were kind of trying to be in the shadows, to be honest with you, to be under the radar. And you blew up the spot. But I'm not going to complain. It turned out, when the dice landed, they landed well. So yeah, absolutely. You we'll always come back to you and give you a chance to talk in the future. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much, Jonny, and thank you so much, Joey. You've been awesome. I appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.